Not live, bro. You got to stop.
Nah, you can talk, bro. It's your live. You can do whatever you want.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Blood on the Razor Wire TV. We're going live for the first time. What we wanted to do was bring Bill Stacks on. He's got a YouTube channel. He's trying to get in right now. Unfortunately, it looks like he can't get in. But, you know, we bring it real. We bring it to you raw, man. We want to come on here and, you know, talk about some of the things that I've been posting, some of the comments that people have made. You know, there was people talking about Russell Simmons' son. You know, they were asking, why didn't Russell Simmons advocate for his son if that was his son? I can assure you that Jinx the Juvie is his adopted son. You know, this guy that was writing me, I don't think he knew that Russell Simmons was instrumental in New York in having the Rockefeller laws changed. He definitely advocated behind the scenes for clemency with Trump for Jinx. It didn't work out. But, you know, that's just a little bit on, you know, the comments about Jinx the Juvie. But what I really want to talk about is that some of the people have commented about the violence that we talk about. Chad, why do you talk about violence? You know, if you're trying to save kids from life imprisonment and premature death, why are you talking about violence? So let me tell you why we talk about violence on Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Because as I've said in the past, you know, people glorify prison. People, you know, glamorize, you know, what happens in our criminal justice system. And some of these kids think this stuff's cool, but it's not. But the violence and the things that happen in prison allows me to open the door to tell them about the mission. And what is the mission? The mission is to get these kids to wake up, to get these kids to see, you know, that when you make irrational, irresponsible choices, that you can end up in prison and you can end up there for a long time. The federal system isn't like the state system where you can cop out, or if you don't take the government's plea, you know, those things in the state, if you don't take the plea, you know, things come down. Things, you know, the government might offer you a 5 to 10. And then if you don't take it, you end up with a 2 to 4. That doesn't happen in the feds. And we've had some things going on in my city in Rochester, New York recently, where these young kids are running around and they're carjacking people. And they're going to end up in prison, probably federal prison. One of the kids killed a 71-year-old guy. And these kids don't realize that when you're carjacking people, what are you doing it for? What are you going to do with the car? You're not going to sell it. You're not going to make no money. You're going to go out for a joyride. And eventually, that joyride could turn into a 20-year prison sentence. So, you know, the mission is to teach people about what's really going on. You know, and I see some comments on here. Judo says, what's good? What's up, man? You know, I appreciate you supporting the channel. Everybody that supports the channel and supports the mission. You know, while I was in prison, I had designed a program that I did some incarceration prevention classes. And I didn't know about YouTube. I didn't know about any of this stuff when I got out of prison, but I had this plan that I was going to help save, you know, kids that were heading down the wrong path so they didn't end up in the position that I ended up in. And I've seen all these dudes with YouTube channels and all these, you know, these guys were talking about prison and what's going on. And I said, this would be a perfect platform for me to do what I want to do, to reach the masses. But it's not just about YouTube. You know, this summer I'm hoping to put a program together called STEM, Stimulate, Train, Educate, Mentor, where what we're going to do is we're going to have Save a Child Month. I'm going to partner with another guy out of North Carolina that served about 25 years, Cedric Dean. He has the SAVE organization, Safeguard, Atone, Validate, Educate, because we got to stop the things that are going on, man. We got these kids out here carjacking people, don't even realize you're carjacking them for nothing. You know, some guy just robbed a kid tonight, group of 3 people robbed the Salvatore's pizza delivery lady. What did you steal? A pizza? $50, $60? You stole absolutely nothing. And now you're going to prison. One of the kids are caught. What do you think he's going to do? 16-year-old, 17-year-old, they're going to get him down there in the interrogation room. And when you get down there to that interrogation room, what's going to happen is, if you've seen First 48, that kid's probably going to start telling on people, man. And then all 3 of them will be in jail. And carjacking is a federal crime. But, you know, like I said, you know, I appreciate everybody that's supporting the channel. You know, a big shout out to DOC TV. 813, that dude like put me onto this for real. I had seen some other videos by the 23-and-1 dude, and I was like, man, if he can do it, I can do it. Jay Williams, not like name calling or whatever, but I think the dude's phenomenal, got great content. So I learned from these dudes. The Ezekiel, he has that Florida prison channel. That dude has been a big help to me as well. And the other thing that we're going to talk about is a lot of people have been asking me about my book. Hey, how can I get your book? How can I get a signed copy? And like I say, you can get it on Amazon or you can get it from me now. If you want a signed autographed copy, we're charging $25 for the book, postage and handling, shipping, all that's part of that. You can hit me up on Freedom Fighters PC 101@gmail.com. And, we can go from there. I'll tell you how to order the book, autographed copy. Also got these t-shirts, Blood on the Razor Wire TV. We're going to sell those for $20 a shirt. You can contact me at that same email. But that's to support the mission. This stuff ain't free. It ain't easy. There's a lot of work that goes into this YouTube stuff that I'm just learning. So, there was like one video I put up without a thumbnail. I'm learning. I didn't even know how to work a phone 9 months ago. But we're learning. But it's not just about that. It's about the mission, man. It's about saving kids from life imprisonment and premature death. And some people might want to know, how serious is prison? Is prison real? Are these stories real? I'm going to start, most of you know that I'm a jailhouse lawyer. So I'm going to start posting some of the case law along with, a video or two when I talk about Big Sandy. So you can see some of the stuff that really happens, people that were charged. Back in the day, they weren't charging too many people. You could pretty much do anything you wanted to anybody in a maximum security federal prison and face no consequences. Now, I'm not saying that on no cop stuff or nothing like that. But, the only way that you ever really got charged was if you killed somebody. So you could pretty much stab people with no consequences. You go to the hole for 30 days, you come out, you lose your commissary for 90 days, and you get angry and you stab someone else. But it's not just about, that. It's about character change. It's about helping people change their way of thinking. And like I said, man, I was supposed to have Bill Stacks on here. He couldn't get in, probably because I'm not that good with technology yet, but hopefully we get a little bit better. I see Chatting with Stacks on here, talking about supporting the next man. T. Chandler, we need more resources for the youth. You're 100% right. But while you're watching the show, let me ask you this. What do you think the biggest problem is for the youth? I can tell you, because I watch 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids come into federal prison. There is a lack of character education. And why is that? I'm going to tell you why. Because in many cases, we have single mothers trying to raise boys because the fathers are already in prison. We have to stop that vicious cycle. And how do we do that? Character change. And I got a program that I proposed to the Federal Bureau of Prisons. And that program is, hey, you got a guy that comes in with 20, 30 years. He's 19 or 20 years old. You can go serve your 20 or 30 years over in Big Sandy. Or you can take this program. We got 2 years of character education. We're going to teach you how to pull your pants up, teach you how to comb your hair, brush your teeth, get ready for work. 2 years of going to school, get you an associate's degree. And 2 years of learn a trade so that when we send you out in 6 or 7 years, you can be a productive member of society and you can become the change that you seek to see in others. And what I mean by that is you can change that vicious cycle of poverty, that vicious cycle of prison, of walking in and out of prison. Too many kids are going to prison. So let's start changing the character. And yeah, I know it's easy to go tell a kid, hey, quit selling dope. You're 16 years old, 17 years old. You want a $200 pair of jeans, a $200 shirt. I was that dude. Back then, what were we wearing back then? What was it? Inichi and Rockaware, and a pair of Timbs were $125. So, just going to the club, a night at the club was $500 just in clothing. So how do you go tell a kid to stop selling drugs? It's difficult. But you have to make them understand and believe that they're bigger than their situation, that they're better than their situation. If they can sell drugs, they can do anything. Being a drug dealer is a very tough job. And you have to be a businessman. You have to be a chemist. People are selling drugs. I was a chemist, man. I was in the kitchen chefing up powder cocaine and turning it into crack. And I don't glamorize that or anything like that. But you got to let these kids know that if you can do that, you can do anything. Why can't you sell cars? Why can't you go out and sell hot dogs and cheeseburgers? You know, one hot dog cart turns into two turns into four. And now you're making $5,000, $6,000 a week, providing a service and not taking a chance with your life. And, you know, that's another thing that I used to ask the kids, because I used to teach a breed leaders program in prison. And I would ask these kids, I would say, hey, tell me what you're worth. And you'd be surprised what some of these kids would say. I used to be shocked. I'm worth $100,000. You're only worth $100,000? I'm worth $1 million. I'm worth $1 billion. Not once did I ever hear a kid say, hey, man, I'm priceless. And I would tell those kids, I'd say, well, I'm going to tell you what I was worth, because I always brought it back to me. When I was standing on a corner in Rochester, New York, and I'm from Ghost Town, from J Street area, Saxton. I grew up really on Saxton and Broad. My grandfather used to own that corner. But when I was standing on those corners in front of them corner stores with $1,000 worth of crack in my pocket, I bag up a half ounce, I got $1,000 of crack in my pocket, and a pistol in my waist, I was worth $1,000. But now I'm priceless, because now I value my freedom. You know, and we're going to talk on some constitutional stuff. I value life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, man. There's nothing worth losing your freedom over. And I want these kids to understand that. Not just kids, because I've had some older dudes reach out to me too and say, hey, Chad, man, thanks for the message. And it's not about scared straight, because the places that I've been, they're scary. People are dying. People are getting stabbed. The cops are treating people like shit. And people, you don't want to live like that, man. You don't want to live in a cell. You don't want to be on a lockdown, man. A lockdown. I've been on lockdowns for 2-3 weeks, 30 days, where the whole compound's locked down and you're in a cell with your cellie. He's got to take a shit right there in front of you. You know, you put a little blanket around your bed so you can't see him while he's shitting, but the man's sitting there shitting. Those are the things that should make you want to change your life. And the other day I had talked about, you know, when you get naked, you have to get strip searched, humiliating. And I said, that made me so mad that I felt like I could pluck a chicken with my teeth. And I think I said that in my book, that it made me so angry that I could, you know, pluck a chicken with my teeth. And I mean that literally, man. You got a grown ass man, and, you know, a lot of dudes going to prison are from the hood, man. They're from the same places I'm from. You got these old country ass white dudes telling you to get butt ass naked, man. And, you know, a lot of people might not agree with this, but there's very few men in prison. And the reason I say that is because men make their own decisions. And in prison, you can't make your own decision. If you're hungry at midnight, you can't go to the corner store and get something to eat. If you feel like if you have to use the bathroom at any given time, you may not be able to get in your cell to use the bathroom. Men are able to make decisions, man. And that's what it's about. That's what you need to think about. You don't have to think about being scared, because this ain't scared straight, man. It's a scary place. But it's about realness, man. It's about never being able to see your mother ever again, or not being able to take care of your mother's funeral, man. And so many of us come from broken homes and single mothers, man. And there's nobody like a single mother. Nobody's going to love you like your mother in 99% of the cases. So what happens if you're in prison serving a life sentence and you can't take care of your mother when she dies? Nobody's there to bury your mother. You have DSS bury her? Nah, man, you're better than that. Your mother's better than that. She deserves more. She deserves a son that loves her and cares about her and doesn't want to see her hurt. I'm going to look at some of these comments on here. I hear a lot, product of my environment. I hear it, but I don't buy it. That same environment also produces doctors. Well, you know what? Don't lie. Let me tell you something. I don't agree with that. And I'm glad you made that statement. I mean, some people do make it out, right? But not everybody. Most people fail. A lot of people do become a product of their environment. And let me use myself as an example, okay? And some people know this, but not a lot of people know this. My father was a crackhead, man. I hate to say it like that, but my father was a drug addict, man. He was a dope fiend, shot heroin, smoked crack. You know, he used to get money. He was one of the biggest weed dealers in my city at one time. And he would go on binges, man. And eventually, you know, my mom ended up as a single mother on welfare. My brother had killed himself. You know, a lot of people don't know that. I think I was 13 or 14. And, you know, when you're living with a single mother and you only have 2 pairs of jeans, you got dirty shoes, you think, man, I want a way out of this, but you're only 13 or 14. There is no way out. What happens to the kids where your mother's a crackhead and your father's gone? Your mother's getting high. What are those kids going to do when it's time to eat? You know, when they get 12, 13 years old, they're tired of eating, you know, jelly sandwiches, man. and they choose the wrong path. So you're right, in a sense. There are some people that come out of their environment and become doctors. Some become lawyers, but not many, very few. And that's why I always come back to we must become the change that we seek to see in others. As a community, we have to come together. As a community, we have to embrace these kids that don't have parents so they don't become a product of their environment, man. And you hear this stuff all the time in prison about guys on the phone, crying to their girl, hey, send me some money. Yo, I need this. Yo, I need that. And I believe that is a product of their environment because they used to do that stuff at home. Yo, I need something. Yo, mom, I need something. Mom, we need cereal. Mom, we need milk. Because they never had it, man. So, we can agree to disagree, right? Sam, man, just asked me if I'm watching the fights tonight. Actually, man, I'm going to order that fight, I think. But, they come on so late now. The main card's on at 10. But, yeah, I'd like to order that fight and watch that. But that's the type of stuff we should be doing in the community, right? Kids like fights. They like boxing. They like UFC. How many kids, if we ordered that fight on a big screen at the recreation centers all over the city or Rochester, and I'm willing to donate some money to do it, how many kids are we going to save that night from doing the wrong thing or from getting shot and killed? Those are the things that we're supposed to do. Those are the door openers, man. We got the fight tonight on the big screen at Avenue D Recreation Center. I used to box over there. There's plenty of kids over there that need a better and safer environment, man. Sneaky, I used to be outside, bro. I learned. I'm glad you learned, man. And I hope that you take the lesson that you learned and teach that to other kids, man. Definitely. You're right, bro. I agree, but that's not the environment. Like I said, man, when you said so many rich white kids are fuck-ups and get locked up. That's a whole nother problem outside of the problem that we got in the hood, man. I'm white. I got a 40-year sentence when I was 24. I was a crack dealer, man. Not happy. But you know what? I didn't let that dictate my future, man. My past mistakes don't define who I am, nor do they dictate my future, man. Yeah, and we got all these rich white kids that are out here, doing the wrong thing. And we see it all the time. They're overdosing on fentanyl, overdosing on heroin. And when you look at the big picture, man, they're ruining our country, man. You don't see many Chinese kids shooting heroin and overdosing, right? You don't see a bunch of Chinese kids running around shooting each other. And that's another conversation because, they got a communist government over there that they'll just start killing them. But, man, we're ruining our country, man. It's time to wake up, man. It's time to wake up. It's time for these kids to wake up because they are our future. But if we don't teach them as adults, then we have no future. Our future is pretty much gone. Chad, any Long Island cats you bidded with? My man was in the same 3 jails you was in, just curious. Long Island, guys. Strong Island, Long Island. Man, I'm sure I've been with some Long Island dudes, man. When we were in Big Sandy, there was a lot of New York dudes over there. I had just talked about on Chatting with Stacks. Vic Amuso was over there. Those are some Brooklyn guys were over there. But man, I vaguely remember some Strong Island guys, man. Free Bad Bob. All of you that know who Bad Bob is, look, man, anything I can do for Bad Bob, I hate to say it like this. I wish he had a federal case because I could do more. But, in the state that he's locked up in, some of you know what state he's in. Petition the governor, man, with a clemency package. I'm willing to write it for free. Do anything I can for Bad Bob. Bad Bob, man, deserves a second chance to reclaim his life, man. He's been in there, 40-something years? He's a soldier, man. 40 years. Anything I can do, man. Bad Bob, if you're listening to this, reach out to me again, dude. Let's do it, man. Let's do what we can. I'm willing to write your clemency package for free. Some people, and we'll address that on here too. Some people think I'm like this super jailhouse lawyer. It's not about that. It's not about writing, motions, magic motions that get people out of prison. I said, I actually put in the time, man. I put in the work. I'm not going to give you a banged up piece of 4 or 5 pages and tell you, hey, man, here's your motion. I put in the work, man. I read everything in the case. I try to get everything in and leave no stone unturned, and anything we can do for Bad Bob, man, let's all come together and do it, man. Even if we were to put together, I'll do the work, and we put together a GoFundMe page and put some money together for Bad Bob and get him a lawyer out of that state that can represent him on clemency, and I'll write the package, man. Not a problem. These kids need Jesus, not religion. You know, a lot of people told me don't get into politics and don't get into religion on YouTube, but you know what? For those of you that don't know this, man, I believe in Jesus Christ too, man, and I believe that's how I got out of prison. Me getting out of prison was an uphill battle. My judge went to bat for me, man, and he let me out after, nearly 18 years. But, man, they said that the government had wrote a response, in my case, like people have never seen before. I mean, he brutalized me, made gang allegations. He swore in the motion. He put pictures in there from, my days when I was in there, when I was working out. He said I was too big to be released. And it was God that got me through, man. I'm just going to keep it real with you, man. Because when the government filed their response, that was the one time when I was really ready to give up. I said, man, it's over with, man. No way out for me, man. But you know what? We were able to overcome it. So these kids do need, they do need religion. They need a higher power. They need to believe in something bigger than themselves. So I agree with you. Chad, you do state time too? Yeah, I did. I did some state time, man. I was in Attica. I was in Comstock. I was in Attica when I was 17 years old, man. Went from Attica to Comstock. Didn't learn my lesson because I was one of them badass kids that we've been talking about. Got out after 2 years, ended up with a parole violation, did another 2 years. And sadly, I was home for 14 months and caught a federal case and ended up with 40 years at the age of 24. But you know what? And I say this all the time, man. I deserve to go to prison, but I did not deserve 40 years at the age of 24. But I probably needed about 8 or 9 years to change my way of thinking, man. I wasn't always a nice guy in the beginning when I went to prison. But you know what? You grow up, you become a man, and you put those immature things behind you, and I eventually did that. Ruthie Acosta Armas. Call me crazy, but I think ex-cons that have turned their life around like you, I think you all should be a form of resource for troubled kids instead of pouring money into unless things that don't work. I believe that 100%, man. And let me tell you something. We're definitely putting some stuff together. We're going to go into these schools and we're going to talk to kids, man. They want to hear our story. We got a story to tell, man. And everybody that's been to prison has a story to tell. But what will you do with that story? Will you use it for good or will you use it for bad? But yeah, I believe the same thing that you believe, Ruthie. Useless things that aren't working. Yeah, a lot of useless things that aren't working. I thought Scared Straight was cool when I went. I went to Attica when I was 13 or 14 with the probation department. Wasn't scared of none of them dudes. I thought I was a tough guy at that age. But I think when you bring things that are real, people listen, man. It sucks going to bed hungry at night. It sucks having to sit in a cell with another dude that's taking a shit, and you got to smell that. And you get angry. You got to tell him, hey, man, flush the toilet, homeboy. Eating crackhead soups, ramen soups, not being able to call people when you want, just not being able to be free. And I can tell you this, that I appreciate my freedom more than I could ever say in words. Walking down the street, man, and being able to smell the air or walking by the water, those are the things that matter. Being able to hug my mother and spend the first Christmas with her that I spent with her, this year. Those are the things that matter. Those are the things that, you need to think about because we might not cherish them until we lose them. You don't miss things until you lose them. And then you realize how much you miss them and how important family and friends are in your life. So you think friends is worse than the state. I always say it depends where, but believe me, the state is worse than most places, yet I can't speak on all. So let me tell you this. Maybe it depends on what state you're from. I'm from New York, right? I can tell you that I was in Attica. I was in Comstock. I passed through Clinton Max. State prison can't hold a match to federal prison. I thought the same thing till I got there. And when you get to federal prison, man, things are racially segregated. Things are extremely violent. I've seen dudes in there with 7, 8 years that'd kill you. Just kill you to kill you, man. The food is absolutely horrible in the feds. I thought the state food was 10 times better. I quit eating the meat in state prison. In federal prison, the beef is absolutely disgusting. You become a vegetarian in there. Federal prison is 10 times worse from my experience. And like I said, a lot of dudes can't tell the story that I can tell because they haven't been in the places that I've been. Been in Big Sandy. I've been in Pollock. I've been in USP Lee. Ended up in Coleman. Went to Raybrook. Went from Raybrook to a low in Lexington. Absolutely horrible, man. The low security prison was the worst prison I've ever been in my life, man. Absolutely disgusting. Dirty. Food is horrible. the cops are disrespectful because they think everybody in there can't, is afraid to go back up to a medium or a pen. It's just horrible, man. The dudes in there are horrible, running around getting high, smoking K2. That's why you can't send letters to your family members in there because they're spraying shit on paper and they're smoking it and they're stealing everybody's stuff. And we're going to do an episode on that because unfortunately a lot of these youngsters are the ones doing that. So the mothers are sending $300-400 in a month, and people are just being abused. And again, I tell you from experience, I had a partner that was my workout partner. He was the only kid I trusted when I was, on that bench with heavyweight. His name was Justin. And I ended up starting a group called the Justin Group at Raybrook with Cedric Dean. Justin used to get $300-400 a month from his mom, and he gave it all to the dudes that were selling Suboxone, right? So Justin gets out, he gets on the bus, he's heading home. I believe he goes to New Hampshire. This is when one of them rich white kids that dude was talking about earlier. He gets home, he cops some dope at the bus station. He's on his way to the halfway house. He gets to the halfway house, gets his bedroll, sets it on the bed, and guess what happens next? He shoots some of that dope. There's fentanyl in there. Never even got a chance to make his bed, and he died, man. I mean, that's when it's real. That's when it's raw. And unfortunately, man, his mom enabled him, man. And I hope, I don't want to hurt her feelings, but, sending money every month for him to buy dope, and she knew he was buying dope. She didn't help change his life. So when he walked out of prison, his life was gone. And she probably never held her son again, man. Sad, but true. I'm talking always. Weren't you always hungry inside? Fred White. Nah, man, I haven't heard from Fred. I don't know who that dude is. But I'm going to tell you someone else that we're getting ready to bring on, man. Allegedly, one of the dudes that started the 99 Gangster Blood Gang in New York, man. YB, Yellow Boy, the executioner. I'm going to bring him on here. I'm going to bring him on here because he was 18 years old when he went to prison. Allegedly became, a shot caller. I was in state prison with Yellow Boy. I went to a prison with him. I was on the bus with him. And when we got there, the cops said, no, he ain't coming to this prison. Put him back on the bus. And the bus driver was another New York State correctional officer, cop. And he said, what do you mean put him back on the bus? He said, he ain't coming here. And they called the warden or the AW. He came down and said, put him back on the bus. Take him back with you. He ain't coming to my prison. And they wouldn't let this dude in Comstock because he was that influential and that dangerous. But he's got a story to tell too, man. Unfortunately, he's back in prison. But we're going to talk to him because, I want the kids to see this dude. I want you to know who this dude is. He's in his 50s now and on his way to federal prison. So we're going to talk about that, man. Yeah. Checking in from Trenton, man. Had a lot of homeboys from Jersey, man. My best friend, Dog Pound, Gilbert Stites. We had him on the show. He's from Jersey. So look, man, I just wanted to, I wanted to go live. I'm trying to learn all this stuff. I like doing the live thing. But we're going to have a better program for when we go live. I wanted to go live with the Stacks dude, chatting with Stacks out of Connecticut. But I'm learning, man. It's a learning process. So I want everybody to bear with me and just, don't forget what the mission is. The mission is to save kids from life imprisonment by bringing them real and raw stories, young men that are on the wrong path, older men, women. I got a chick that I'm going to probably interview from prison. She's serving a life sentence. She's going to call in for drugs. Because I want these young ladies to see this too, man. A lot of young ladies are going to federal prison out of California, New Mexico, a lot of West Coast girls. East Coast too, but a lot of West Coast. So look, man, I'm gonna close the live and just want to thank everybody for coming. You want to support the mission, hit me up on Freedom Fighters PC101@gmail.com. We got these t-shirts in all sizes, Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Promote the station, man. If you want a signed autographed copy of Blood on the Razor Wire, $25. That comes with postage and handling. And again, man, just bring it to you real, bring it to you raw. Gonna try to put out a nice video for you guys tomorrow, man. I appreciate you. Share the channel. And with that, we're out until tomorrow.